When we think of the British Empire and slavery, our first instinct is often to condemn. After all, Britain was deeply involved in the transatlantic slave trade for centuries. But history is rarely black and white, and in this case, it's worth considering a different side of the story. In the early 19th century, a powerful abolitionist movement swept through Britain. It wasn't just religious groups or activists, it was a national cause. Petitions flooded Parliament, mass rallies were held, and in 1807, the British Parliament passed the Abolition of the Slave Trade Act, banning the trade across the empire. But that was just the beginning. In 1833, the Slavery Abolition Act officially ended slavery in most of the British Empire. The government even paid today's equivalent of billions in compensation, not to the enslaved, but to the slave owners, a morally complex and controversial move that nonetheless marked a legal and institutional end to slavery in Britain's colonies. Then came something unprecedented. Britain didn't just stop, it went to war against slavery. The Royal Navy established the West Africa Squadron, which patrolled the Atlantic to intercept and free enslaved Africans aboard illegal slave ships. At its peak, over 1/3 of the Royal Navy's fleet was dedicated to this anti-slavery mission. They weren't just enforcing British law, they were reshaping global norms. In fact, in 1852, Britain bombarded the Kingdom of Lagos, modern-day Nigeria, to pressure its ruler to end the slave trade. That city was later annexed and turned into a center of British anti-slavery influence in West Africa. It was abolition by force, imperialistic, yes, but unique in world history. So yes, the British Empire profited from slavery, but it was also the first empire in history to abolish it across its territories, and then use its global power to compel others to follow suit. While it's tempting to view empires through a purely moral lens, history often defies simplicity. No other empire in history has ever abolished slavery, and then fought to abolish it everywhere else.